supporting Donald Trump is like segregation. All these segregationist senators, congressmen, all this other stuff they did, the bridges they got built, the grants they got, the this or that, nobody's going to remember any of it. Nobody does remember any of it. You were a segregationist. That's what they remember. Likewise, if you oppose segregation, that's what they remember. That's how it is with Donald Trump. He's the moral test of our time. Now, nobody likes moral tests. God knows I don't like moral tests. I think, like a lot of people, I do everything I can to avoid moral tests. Like, I'm just going to ignore this. But some moral tests you can't ignore. And supporting Donald Trump was a straight up moral test. It's good versus evil. Donald Trump is a racist. Are you going to support a racist? Donald Trump is a hater, a professional hater. Are you going to support professional haters? Donald Trump stands for everything that we as humans say is bad. Like, he's an extraordinarily mean-spirited, angry, brutal, selfish man. And you support him, Lindsey Graham. He's someone who's compromised by Russia. And you support that. And you then become that. But you don't have to support Donald Trump. And this is the thing I go back to, when Trump first got elected, I came from the Bush tribe. And I had a lot of friends that said, well, Trump has hijacked our party. And I was like, guys, man, I want to believe that. But the thing is, the hijacker is never popular on the plane. Nobody ever says, oh, great, we get to go to Cuba, not grandma's house. And Donald Trump was extraordinarily popular and is extraordinarily popular within the Republican Party, which is the only reason he has power. Nobody has to vote for Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is what the Republican Party wants to be. And Lindsey Graham could have opposed that. And you don't know how history would have turned out. You could have defeated Donald Trump. After Access Hollywood, you could have stopped him. You would have lost an election, but you would have saved the party. You could have absolutely voted to convict him. It would have been better for the country, better for the Republican Party, God knows, better for the world. But you didn't. You didn't because you were weak and you were cowardly. And that's just tragic. You are the anti-John McCain, Lindsey Graham. I'd like to believe that the Lindsey Graham that was basically John McCain's pilot fish was really who he was. But I kind of don't think so. I think the Lindsey Graham that we saw the last decade of his career, sucking up to Donald Trump, a man he knows is evil, a man he knows is stupid, a man he knows who has willful ignorance, a man he watched appoint fools, drunks, weirdos, freaks across the government. He's okay with that because, he plays golf. He played golf with Donald Trump. Well, it's sad that he's died, but it's equally sad the way he lived the last decade of his life. And I don't know anybody who really can't imagine anybody who really cared about Lindsey Graham. His family, those who really knew him, didn't look at him and every day wince and say, why are you doing this? And there's a lesson here. It's still not too late for all you Republicans. You're going to have a huge moral test around the 26 elections because Donald Trump is going to try to steal the 26 elections. He's going to do everything he can, probably up to citing the Insurrection Act. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do, John Thune? What are you going to do, Roger Wicker? What are you going to do, John Cornyn? So character does count. When I was drawn to the Republican Party, it was when Reagan was around. And say what you will about Ronald Reagan. He did say that he believed in character. He did elevate that. He didn't say that he was perfect. He announced in front of the Statue of Liberty to celebrate being an immigrant. The last speech he gave was an ode to immigration. Peggy Noonan's book about Ronald Reagan was called When Character Was King. And then when you had Bill Clinton emerge, all these Republicans wrote beautiful stuff. Michael Bennett. Here, the president is more than just the chief executive. He's the soul of the nation. He's someone you have to look up to. And then when Donald Trump came along, it was like, nah, that was just a lie. I don't care. And that's sad. But it's never too late to do the right thing. There's going to be plenty of tests ahead for the Republican Party. And I would hope that someone would step back and look at Lindsey Graham and say, I don't want to end that way. I still have time. I can still be really who I am and a different person.